Hey everybody, AM Slapped here. Because we're in quarantine and I got a lot of stuff going on with Adobe Media Encoder where I can't really use my computer too much, I thought it'd be a good time to kind of show off my settings and what I do when I record a video and all that fun stuff. So, I'm going to show you OBS settings today, I'm going to show you my Premiere settings today, I'm going to show you how I make a video, which for my Let's Plays, it's not really that hard. We're going to use MLB The Show 20, and this will be the in case you want to know, the 30th episode of MLB The Show 20, and it will be the All-Star video. So if you want to figure out what that is the video I'm going to be making today. So over here we actually are on the second screen monitor right now, which is actually my television, but that's a different story. So we're on the second screen monitor. In a minute I'm going to switch over to my main monitor where I do all my editing and all my recording and everything. So be prepared. We're going to see this like infinite vision screen coming up soon as my desktop background switches. So we're going to go to studio mode, which is a button. I'll show you in a minute. We are going to go over and transition. Boom. So we're going to take off the studio mode button. Basically the studio mode just makes it so there's a second screen before you transition. Nice easy transition. It's actually kind of nice. We're gonna get rid of that. All right, so now we're gonna disable the preview there so you don't have to see that stuff. So here is my settings that I go into everything. So first off, audio. These are my audio settings. So I did use Voice Meter Banana, which is down here. And basically what this does is separate my desktop audio from my Discord audio. So when someone talks in Discord, it's not the same channel as my desktop audio. Really not that big of a deal, especially if you're streaming. You don't have to worry about this really. For me, I really anal about editing stuff, and it's much easier to edit anything audio-wise if it's in a separate track. We'll come back to that in a minute. We're gonna minimize that now. So this is the Discord, is desktop 2 is Discord. I should probably name that Discord, but I don't care too much about that. If you are doing this, first off, find a different video because I'm not gonna just go into that today. Maybe in the future. But I would recommend naming these and labeling these correctly. I just don't care enough about it to do it. So this one right here, this mic is my microphone. That is what I talk into. I am using an AT Audio Technica 2020 USB Plus. I have looked into an XLR before because I do have a mixer. I just don't use it. I don't really have a place to put it up. So if you have an XLR, you will always have better input with an XLR than you will be with a USB. This one, as I actually don't remember what this is. I believe this is the same as the desktop audio, but apparently I just disconnected it, so that's fun. Basically this is kind of like a version so I don't have to duck the audio. So if something funky happens and you can't hear the game at all, I have a backup. That is what that is. We're gonna cancel because I accidentally screwed something up and I don't want anything to be screwed up. So here is your voice channel. So if I hit this, you're going to see the top one and mic aux 2 move. So I have this one a little quieter and this one at max. So this one is the full raw unedited one. And this one is the one where I have a bunch of channels and stuff into. So what do I mean by that? Well, if I go to filters, as you see, we have a ducking for Discord and a ducking for mic. Basically what this means is that if there's something going through, it will automatically make it quieter. And it will not affect this bottom one because that one is just there in case I don't want to do that. There is some times I don't want to do that, and I can go into that later, but we can actually do it in post always, no matter what. So if something screws up, I have a backup. Same thing goes for this Discord. If you want to check out those settings, there they are. I actually highly recommend that. It actually makes editing really simple. So I actually have a fourth one that is the PlayStation 4. And you can't see it here. So PlayStation 4, I have the exact same filters that I have here on the PlayStation 4. You can't see it because I'm now on my PlayStation 4 scene. And I'm not going to go to the scene because then you can't see the settings. I will go briefly over the settings though. So all my scenes. So this is my second monitor, which you saw earlier. This is the PlayStation 4 no camera. This is just the background image. This one was the scene where you can see everything. And my PC is just the image. And obviously PlayStation 4 is just PlayStation 4. Let's go back to this one, make sure. Yes, okay, that was correct. All right. So we're gonna go into settings and we're gonna go to video. So what this does, this takes a canvas of whatever your monitor is, and this takes what you're actually being outputted as. So we're in 10, my monitor here is a 1080 monitor. It's being outscaled at a 1080. So fun thing, when I usually record stuff, it's usually at 4K. My monitor will automatically downscale everything into the 1080. So the 4K is actually at a higher quality than 1080. So that's why it looks a little better. That's why I usually render in 4K. That and the thing 4K looks better when people are trying to get quality, and people that don't know any better will be like, hey, it's a 4K video, yay. I digress. That's what that means. You can set some hotkeys. Look, I have scroll lock as a hotkey. I have the number pad to start streaming anytime I want. Advanced, I don't really mess with this stuff. You do want this process on high. So, output. So this one is important. So, as you can see, right now, audio track is on 5. So that means when I do this advanced audio properties, I can select where to put things at. So right now, I stream only output 5. And I have everything on. Now, if I were to take this off, now you will no longer hear desktop audio while I'm streaming. Obviously, I don't want to do that. I want to make sure you can hear everything while I'm streaming. Everything else is separate just for recording and post editing work. Post-production work, that's the word. So, streaming, pretty simple. 4,000. I don't like really mess with this. 4,000 I think is actually a little low, but I thought it was pretty good. No one seems to really be complaining about it. This is where you put your stream key in. I'm not going to show you my stream key. So recording. Actually, let's go to audio. No. Recording. So you may notice I'm at 40,000 kilobytes per second of bitrate. That is because I am super anal about my quality. I do not recommend it. I would recommend maybe somewhere between 4,000 and 8,000. 40,000 is just because I want the 4K quality, and I think my Doom Eternal Part 3 was really blurred to me, and I was very upset. So I went all the way with it. So we're at 40,000, which really makes about 20-minute episodes, about 16 gigabytes big, depending. Not a huge deal. So right here, I select which audio tracks I actually want to take from the recording. I want to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. So that way I get my desktop audio, my Discord audio, my microphone, my PlayStation 4, and the background of the desktop. So for PlayStation 4, we won't be using most of those, but that is where they would go. So that is what I do. I've already hit recording, obviously. And we will be right back as we are going to now record a PlayStation 4 episode of MLB The Show 20. And all I gotta do here is just go to PlayStation 4 tab, which I've already done. Let me get my controller here. So as you can tell, you now have video capture. You can actually hear the PlayStation 4 now. So I'm just gonna go to MLB The Show 20. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start this video. Okay, so we're back. We're on the second monitor, so you don't have to see all that bull. But oh, it just went off. But we're back. So now we're gonna actually edit the video. So what we're gonna do, I'm going to go to my drive here. Let me pause my other encoder. So you're gonna know some weird things. That's okay. And we should probably go to the second monitor. I'm just talking without going to the right thing. Go ahead and disable this. Okay, so as we're gonna go down here, which is my MLB The Show. Get rid of that. MLB The Show 20 folder right here. So I have two projects. This one's in Adobe 2020. This one's in Adobe 2019. This is actually what started this whole thing because I had a bunch of problems with Adobe Premiere. I think it's version 4 point something. Anything that's 13.5 and up, I have a problem with. And so I'm kind of like this hybrid, doing both at once kind of deal. We're going to open up this 13 Adobe project, which I reverted back to, which I think I already had on my computer, actually. So we're going to open this up. It's going to take a little while to open up. All right, so as you can see, I already have the thing in there. That's the intro. The intro has a little bit of a bass effect to it. It's 4 and it's maxed up all the way because when I rendered it out originally, it automatically made the volume go down by 6. I'm not going to show you how to go in and how I made his intro because After Effects is a pain in the and every intro is different. So here's a track mixer. So you're going to see track 1 is at 0, audio track 2 is at 0, audio track 3 is at 4, audio track 4 is minus 11. That's going to come into play in a minute. So we're going to go ahead, and this is my backup folder where everything I have done. So as you see, this is the MLB The Show video I just recorded. So ignore all this stuff. You're not going to have all this stuff. This is just a folder I told OBS to output to right here, recording path. So we're going to grab this footage and we're just going to drag and we're going to drop. It's going to be ghost a while because this actually isn't the perfect Premiere, but it doesn't take that long. This is actually a step why I'm using this one instead of the new Adobe, because the new Adobe just physically can't do that. There you see every single audio track as it generates a peak file here. So now you can see it. So this first one, not even being used because of the PC. Second one is my microphone. This third one is the game, and these two are not even being used. There we go. So now we're gonna make a slight cut. So wherever this stops, if I start talking right about right there. Okay, so we're gonna hit that. We're gonna hit C, which automatically enables this cut thing. Cut. We're gonna hit V or selection tool. Select that. We're gonna hit delete. And now sometimes I don't know exactly which way does which. Okay, so I click between it, then hit delete, and it automatically goes to the side. If it doesn't do that, you just drag and drop. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We're gonna go to the end here, and we are going to
And we scored once.
find out where I stopped talking.
Cool.
So I always say something at the very end. In this case, I said cool, and I always end it around there, so I can hit Control, hit that, V, delete, boom. Now we're gonna take one of the outros, and I have an outro folder right here I put in here previously. So there is an order to my outros. I don't know what my last outro used was, so we're gonna go ahead and look at my previous here. Okay, so that's 14. I know because that's the one I just made. All right, that's the newest one. These things get updated periodically. So I'm gonna take outro 1. We're gonna put it in the first one, and then we're gonna check out the audio level. So I want the audio level. I want it to not peak, but I want it to be somewhere between 6 and 0.
Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Come back next time. Thank you for watching.
So it gets up to about 13.5, which isn't bad. But because we're on old Adobe, new Adobe can go up, I think, 5 dB. Old Adobe can only go up 6. So we're still not as loud as we could be. So what I'm going to do is actually hit Alt, select that. Then we're going to click again, drag down one channel. Now we got the same thing twice. It's going to boost up the audio. And it's still not quite where I want to be. We're going to take one of these and we're going to boost up the volume right here.
Like and subscribe.
Perfect. So now we're at 4.0, which is exactly where we want to be. So, still not done. Remember how I said it's easier to edit audio when there is multiple than one track? Well, you see this? This is the game audio. We cannot have the music copyrighted, and that would be a problem. So what we're going to do is drop our water bottle on the ground.
20.
So, I actually hit our mic on the way down. Now we're going to drop my Xbox One controller on the ground. It's not one thing, it's another, isn't it?
Plays by 3 games.
All right, so what we're going to find is whenever... and this was kind of a weird one because this is an all-star game, so it's actually a long intro before something actually happens. Like it happens around there because I can always tell because I stopped talking. I usually like to have the zoom at the beginning here when it transitions. Don't know when it's gonna happen.
Excellent.
So I usually like that thing.
Excellent.
Naturally, I talked over literally the only part of that I talked over was the part where I don't want to talk over. That's cool. So we're gonna hit C again. We're gonna hit Alt, boom, and we're gonna hit Alt again, and now that's gone. Excellent, right?
That's a dub.
So this one's a little different because I actually cut off a little bit here in the middle. We're using this pause feature, helps us quite a bit. So we're gonna find out where I quit at, which looks like right there. And I start talking again right there. Now these things are no longer grouped, so when we alt something and then delete, it will mess up the grouping. We just have to kind of cut everything. Not a big deal. Delete, delete. Now it's back together.
All right, so the all-star game here.
Then we're gonna start cutting it until we see that swoosh again, or in this case, we are going to see a cutscene because it's the all-star game.
All right.
We're gonna hit Alt. We're gonna hit the edge of this, right where it selects. Drag. Now we won't have audio until that part. So real quick, I'm gonna make sure we go to full quality here. I'm gonna do a little extra thing as well here. So, how do I make thumbnails? Well, we take a part of the game, which in this, I'm gonna take this one right here, right where I'm pointing. So I want to make this my thumbnail, right? So I'm gonna hit this button right here, and we're going to export it. I believe, I don't know what part this is. It's part 30. So nice and simple. 3, 0. We're also going to change the path because we do not want to be inside the Final Fantasy folder. That would be bad. So we're going to select the MLB The Show 20. This is, you know, everyone has their own thing, but this is mine. Select folder 30. Okay. Now we have a screenshot selected for the thumbnail. I'm going to come back over here. Where's the end?
There it goes.
We are going to hit right there. I'm gonna drag. Now there'll be no music on the copyright. So we're not quite done yet, but that is majority work. I'm gonna go ahead and save. I don't have to worry about that again. I'm going to rename this project as well. Do something a little easier. I don't have to keep renaming stuff. So what I'm gonna do is actually rename this, copy, hit right click the sequence right here. We're going to hit rename, boom, and then we're going to hit get rid of that, and then every time I duplicate this, it's going to say copy. Makes it a lot easier to be able to change the name of stuff. So if I duplicate this, boom, now I can render out this thing twice. We're going to undo that for now because we don't really need to do that. All right, we're going to save it. So now we're ready to render actually, but not so fast. So what I like to do to kind of fill in this gap where there is no music underneath me talking is to have a song playing. And for MLB The Show, I like to continue where this song leaves off. That is where audio track 4 comes in with -11. So I actually just re-rendered it using Adobe Media Coder 20, which this is why my computer is locked up at the moment and I can't edit stuff. So we actually just did it. So there it is right there. So I'm actually going to cut this and put it inside the MLB The Show somewhere. There's no reason for that to be there. So we're gonna put it inside MLB The Show folder somewhere. Let's put it in. Let's put an intro since it's kind of part of the intro. Oh, I might have already done this. I did. Oh well, it's there again. That's how I function. So this goes to the audio track 4. This is actually pretty annoying. So I have to find out where in the world this thing continued at. So if I hit solo here, we should be able to line this up eventually. I think it's about right. I want to say right there. It doesn't quite look the same though. Close-ish. You know what? This might be the same with this one over here. What if you do this? Oh, that looks good. Looks like a winner. Oh, so you can zoom in, hit an Alt, and then you can zoom in your timeline. I've been doing that without even realizing I'm doing it. We're gonna go off one more frame. How's that look? Not exactly line up as much as I want it to. That's a-okay. Sometimes that happens. Pretty close though. About right here, we're actually going to go to this audio transition, constant gain, and then it will automatically gain while this thing is going lower.
Alright everybody, welcome back to MLB.
So that is kind of my trick for this. I'm just going to duplicate a bunch of times. I don't care too much about how this goes into one another. I might do it a little better than that, because that's not at all. Let's put constant power between the two. And do it again. Right there. Constant power. This is kind of a special case because it's the All-Star one. And then yeah, this is pretty much the bulk of the work when it comes to doing this editing. That is just how editing goes. We're gonna delete it right there when the gameplay comes back in, and we're gonna do a nice fade into it, and then we're gonna hit save. We're not quite done yet. We got one more step. I don't know if you noticed when I talk here at the very beginning here, right at the intro.
Alright everybody, welcome back.
I go over. We don't want over, so we're gonna go to hit this audio tab up here. I'm gonna select everything that I said here. We're gonna hit dialogue, dynamic. So dynamic will kind of compress this even more. So we're gonna hit that, and then eventually this will finish up, and then when that's over, we're gonna be ready to export. And we will not export using this thing because I have way too many things exporting here, and this is actually kind of slow. So once this is done hitting its dynamics, which could be a while, it varies. There's no real like time that I feel like the second half is gonna get done a little quicker. Actually, this is gonna get done the quickest. That actually doesn't even need to be there. Just trying to get these two. But once this is done, it will be ready. So what we're gonna do right now is actually work on the thumbnail while we're waiting for this. So this is my thumbnail folder. That's why it's called thumbnail. This is every single thumbnail I have made so far into this game. Here's 30. So we're gonna open up this Photoshop. So I actually have a preset for this, which is why all my thumbnails look the same, which I actually kind of like. It's kind of like a branding thing. I've changed it here and there. Usually reviews don't get this kind of specialness. But while that thing is analyzing for dynamics, there is the last one I did, and this is pretty simple. You ready for this? We're gonna take 30, drag, and I kind of go to the right a little bit. And I actually got this template online somewhere. It was a free template. I don't remember what I Googled or what I looked up. Make sure the 30 is underneath the sidebar. Boom. Now if I want to change colors, I can. I just did the Final Fantasy VII Remake one, so obviously that's select. You have to make sure your layer's selected, and then boom, I can change colors just like that. Undo that. Can we hit? So sometimes this bar screws up, and I never, to this day, I don't know why, but whatever. So we're almost done. We have to change the text here to 30. Right here. 30. Boom. 30. I use Piece of Flesh font. I used to use Javanese. I switched to Feast of Flesh because Feast of Flesh is on the logo, the hand logo. We're gonna export, which that was made in Illustrator. Okay, that's done. That logo right there was made in Illustrator. We're gonna go ahead, exit out of that, save it, and see if this is done with the dynamics yet. That one's done. That one's done. So this is done. We're gonna hit Control M, which will bring up this menu. So if there's more than one, you can actually select the sequences over here. So if I had, let's duplicate this real quick. So if there's two sequences, I can do this, Control M, and I can automatically make them select one of the presets. So we're not gonna do that since there's only one today. Control M. So you're gonna get all these settings here. So I have my own personal settings for 4K. Is this is on a PlayStation Pro, it is in 4K. It does get compressed down to 1080, but it is actually 4K. I know there might be a slight hit. I actually don't know what the quality change between that is, but the source file is 4K. That's a little confusing. Basically, it's 4K being down to 1080, being upscaled back to 4K. I don't really think that should affect. It might have a slight problem, but honestly, the bitrate's so high, shouldn't make a difference for me. There's my settings, 60 FPS. That's actually not checked. Oh. 'Cause if you check it, it will just do whatever is, okay. It'll just match source. There's that. This stuff right here is 24 to 50. That's kind of the big part. I also have an effect. One effect with the loudness normalization. Basically, I kind of make it so it's not, you know, blowing your ears out. We're gonna hit Q. I like using an encoder for this instead of this. That way I can actually do more things. So this encoder is gonna open up. I might have to open up that project. I think I closed it too quick. So sometimes you close it as fast as I just did there, it won't pop back up. I have to reopen and do that whole thing again. It just doesn't take long. Maybe. Oh, it did go up. It just wasn't showing. Okay. We're gonna hit Control M. Do this again. 4K. So I am going to select an export folder, which is actually pretty easy. We're going to do that. 30. Boom. Cue it up. And there it is. And all I got to do now is hit play. And encoding takes forever, and I can't really encode while this is encoding and while I'm streaming and while I'm recording. So, with that being said, we are done. This is kind of what it goes into. Obviously, I still got to upload it. Uploading is just dragging onto YouTube. And I usually just copy and paste my tags and my description from one video to another. That ain't that much of a problem. So, if you like this, hit like. I don't know if I actually explaining this correctly, but I did do it all, the whole process. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.